What's up, everybody? It's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show of your 24-hour day. I'm your host, Brendan Abbott, coming to you fresh off of a Super Bowl weekend, which I hope was eventful for everybody that it got to enjoy the weekend. Hopefully, that not everybody had to work throughout the weekend. I know that it wasn't, or on the Super Bowl Sunday, in actuality itself. I know that it's not, Super Bowl isn't technically a holiday. It's kind of like a de facto holiday. I kind of made a note of that during my last show. But it's the day that essentially everybody comes together to try and watch the Super Bowl, whether it be at Super Bowl watch parties or at your favorite bars, restaurants, whatever it may be, clubs. A lot of people come together and try to watch the Super Bowl in a lot of public venues or at a public gathering with friends and family and etc. So hopefully everybody got to enjoy the Super Bowl. It was a really exciting Super Bowl, one of the most exciting Super Bowls in recent memory. I mean, if you really think about it, last year's Super Bowl was exciting because the Patriots made the comeback. But for the most part, in the first half, that Super Bowl was a bore because the Falcons just dominated the Super Bowl so much from last year. But then with their comeback, with the Patriots making the comeback this year, or the Patriots and the Eagles going back and forth more so this year, it was a lot more of an exciting Super Bowl. But of course, y'all, before I get into the deep depths of the Super Bowl and everything I think about it and all our topics, let me jump into talking about how you all should follow and subscribe to the KBR Sports Podcast. We're going on Rival TV, Spreaker, YouTube, iTunes, and SoundCloud. That way you'll be email notified whenever the KBR Sports Podcast is streaming live. Also, don't forget that you can follow the KBR Sports Twitter page at KBR_sports, where the live link and show topics are tweeted prior to every single show, and where old show links are posted on there as well, so that if maybe you missed today's show, it'll be posted onto the Twitter page the next day or on the next day following that day, so that you all be able to reach whatever topic or be able to reach the podcast, from which point you can go to the Twitter page and get access to. Also, do not forget to comment, like, and share the KBR Sports Podcast 1 to show your support for the show. Because of course, if you got a show that you like a lot and you just being the podcast, which I'm pretty sure most of you enjoy listening to, then you're going to want to share that with the people that you think might get the most usage out of it and might be interested in the same thing as you. So make sure you go and show your feedback and give your support, and so you can get other people hip to the KBR Sports Podcast. But like I was saying, y'all, before I jumped into all that, the Super Bowl was an exciting Super Bowl, one of the best Super Bowls that we've had in recent memory. It was a completely offensively dominated Super Bowl. I mean, the amount of offense that was put out there in this Super Bowl was crazy. You had over 1,000 total yards put out in this year's Super Bowl. Like literally over 1,100 yards. That's so much yards put into combined for two teams to combine for that much yardage. And then when you have one quarterback, and being Tom Brady, who throws for over 500 yards, I mean, that's just impressive in and of itself. So you got to really take into account how much offense was put into the Super Bowl. This wasn't really a defensive Super Bowl, and that's why it makes me bring up the question: did the Eagles win this Super Bowl, or did the Patriots more so lose it? Because when we think about these two teams, one of the things that we talk about with the Eagles has been their defense. The Eagles' defense has been the thing that they've ridden their staple on throughout a lot of the season, despite the injuries they've had. Their defense has been a mainstay for this team throughout a lot of it. Yes, Carson Wentz making extreme plays and being really impressive and making just putting his talent on full display was a big part of why this Philadelphia Eagles team was so impressive. But another reason why this team was so impressive was that defense. They were a top 4 defense throughout the whole season. They were number 4 in scoring and yards allowed throughout the season. So you knew this defense was going to be its staple throughout the playoff run and in the Super Bowl. But it just didn't end up being that way. And it kind of makes you wonder, okay, so if the Eagles defense didn't come to show, then their offense is really what came to show out, because their defense didn't have any scoring possessions. The defense didn't put up any points. Now, when you said their offense put up 41 points, and there was no special team scores either in terms of kick returns and punt returns, their offense, all the points were scored pretty much on offense by both teams, regardless of the field position and stuff. Both offenses had to drive down the field, or if they had something good field position, they had to move their field goal kicker in position to make a field goal kick. But that's one of the things that was most surprising about this game, because of the fact that the Eagles the Eagles offense put up 41 points. And when you look at it from that perspective, I guess you could easily say that the Patriots lost it more so because the Eagles did something that the Eagles don't normally do, at least particularly under Nick Foles. The Eagles put up an absurd amount of scoring against a Patriots defense that's actually one of the best defenses against scoring. This has been the Patriots mantra. This has been how the Patriots have been defined. They've been defined as a defense that would bend but not break. So essentially what that means is they give up a lot of yardage. You can accumulate so much yardage on them, and you'll be able to drive up and down the field on this defense. But once you get down to the red zone and closer to the end zone, they'll hold you out of the end zone. They won't let you score. But that was not the case on Sunday night because the Eagles pretty much had their way with the Patriots. Honestly, the Eagles got down to the red zone multiple times, and essentially neither team had to punt except for the Eagles punting one time. There was only 3 drives for the there were only 2 drives for the Eagles that didn't end up in a scoring play. And that was when they had a punt, and that was an interception in the second quarter. That one got tipped up by Alshon Jeffries. And it got tipped up into the air and then bounced into the arms of a Patriots defensive back. So even on that play, it's like the Patriots kind of lucked up into that interception where it wasn't the play of their defensive back that made the play. Well, I mean, he had to catch the ball, but more so Alshon Jeffrey tipped the ball back up into the air so it was able to be picked off. But like how I was saying that it's really easy to say that the Patriots lost this game because I mean let's look at the raw statistics of this game. The Eagles converted 10 of 16 third downs. They were 2 of 2 on fourth downs, and that's over a 62.5% completion or third down conversion rate, and they were 100% on fourth downs. Then when you look at how the Patriots fared on third down, they were 5 of 10 on third downs. They were 1 of 2 on fourth downs, and so both teams missed extra point and they missed on some field goal opportunities. The Patriots missed 1 extra point with one, and also missed 1 field goal, while the Eagles missed a field goal, 2 2-point conversions, and an extra point. So they obviously missed out on multiple opportunities that they had to score. So honestly, when I look at the facts and stuff, the Eagles, they had 6 penalties for 35 yards, while the Patriots had 1 penalty for 5 yards. And the Eagles dominated time possession, 34 minutes and 4 seconds to 25 minutes and 56 seconds for the Patriots. So honestly, when I'm looking at it, today's the day you're going to hear a lot of people making the case of, oh yeah, this and this happened against the Patriots, or this and this happened that could have been this and that. And particularly, it's going to be on the touchdown calls of, I believe, I'm not sure if the Chris Clements, I'm not sure if his name is Chris or Colin, but I know it's like Clemente or Clements. When he caught the ball in the back of the end zone, you see he catches it and he gets 2 feet in, but then he bobbles it and takes another step out of bounds. And technically, by how they've been judging the catch rule, that shouldn't have been a catch because he bobbled it, so he didn't fully have possession of the ball when he took that last step out of bounds. So that you can make a case either way that could have been overturned, but it's one of those things that now the Eagles did so much of, like how I was saying that them putting up 41 points was more so of an anomaly because they rose up to perform at such a high level, and because they made the plays. Like I remember there's a point in the broadcast where Chris Collinsworth actually acknowledges, he says that this is such an offensively driven game that whichever defense makes that one play, makes that one stop, that team is going to win the game. And that team ended up being the Eagles with Brandon Graham's strip sack of Tom Brady. When Brandon Graham got that with 2:16 left in the fourth quarter, that was really the play that changed up the whole game. That play is what essentially got the Eagles, because this is what I'll tell you exactly what everybody that was watching the Super Bowl was thinking the minute that the Patriots got the ball left with just under 2 minutes left to go in the game. Everybody, actually just under about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in the game. Everybody's thinking, okay, well, Patriots fans are thinking, well, we have the ball in the person's hands that we want the ball to be in the hands of. We got the ball in the hands of Tom Brady, who's going down the field with plenty of time left to go in the game. We've seen him score in the same game in under 2 minutes, so we know that he can get the job done. So that was the scenario all Patriots fans wanted, and that was the scenario that Eagles fans were dreading. Eagles fans were dreadful of the fact that, okay, Tom Brady might go down the field in no time at all and make a drive down the field and essentially win get the game tying touchdown and 2-point conversion. Get the game winning touchdown because of that strip sack, the Eagles were able to get the ball back, drain more time off the clock. As a result of that strip sack, they're able to get the ball back, drain more time off the clock, and then kick a field goal to make it an 8-point game. Because at the time, if Brandon Graham doesn't get that strip sack, if Tom Brady goes down the field, scores a touchdown, then the Patriots go up by 2 points. So that because they would go down, they'd probably go for a 2-point conversion just so that they could ensure that the Eagles would need a field goal to tie the game instead of them losing off of some other means or whatever. But they would go down there and they could have won the game off of that touchdown drive, but by Brandon Graham forcing the strip sack of Tom Brady, he gave the ball back to his offense and allowed them to essentially put the lead up to 8 points, so that even if the Patriots scored, all they could do was tie the game. So it put the Eagles in it gave them more of a comfort and relaxed mindset. But you still saw that play. You saw Tom Brady, how deflated he was on that play when he got sacked and stripped, because it was the last thing that. But honestly, the funny thing is, I called it as I was watching the game. I was like, he's gonna get sacked. I don't know what the feeling was. I just had the feeling that he was gonna get sacked, and then lo and behold, he ended up getting sacked. And it's a credit to the Eagles defense. I mean, it was a defense that essentially wasn't really able to hold the Patriots all game, except for when it really mattered. And if that's a point, that's, hey, if you're gonna pretty much play Swiss cheese defense all game, but then essentially show up in the fourth quarter where it matters the most, hey, more credit to you, because that's all that mattered at the end of the day. They got the stop, they got the turnover that they needed, they got the sack and everything that they needed when it mattered the most. So you can't really criticize them for the lack of defense at the whole game, because their defense showed up when it counted most. So it'd be different if you lost because of your defense and your defense was your staple all season. But when your defense ended up making the big play when it counted, then I really have to give credit to you. Now, I understand the case that a lot of people will make, some Patriots fans will make, that the Patriots lost this game because of the fact that, I mean, the Patriots did have their moments in the game where you can make cases that, okay, they could have made better play calls, that you kind of scratch your head at things they did, and you look at it and you were wondering, particularly, there's a few plays that stood out for me throughout the game. One play being on the kickoff return for the Patriots. The kickoff return was the last kickoff return they had after the Eagles made that field goal. The Patriots decided to, the kickoff was fielded, I'm not sure, I believe it was by James White. I believe the kickoff was fielded by James White, and James White's bringing it back, and then he does like a flip. He flips it back to, I'm not sure if it's Danny Amendola or Chris Hogan, but yeah, he flips it back to him, and he's attempting to run it back. I'm assuming they're going for like the home run play on this, essentially, at this point, but it gets sniffed out by the Eagles immediately, and all they ended up doing, this is what the Patriots ended up pretty much wasting more time on the clock, and they ended up giving themselves bad field position and making it more of a longer field to go for Tom Brady and the offense, as opposed to just getting as many yards as possible and possibly returning it just off of James White's merits alone. So that in and of itself was a little bit alarming to me. And then just the fact that Tom Brady did miss some throws. There was some plays where he missed receivers when he was making passes. Tom Brady dropped a wide open pass that was made to him from Danny Amendola. He was wide open. He dropped it, missed it entirely. And then you just see that at times throughout the game, the Patriots defense just didn't seem to be on the same chord, and then they didn't even put out the best version of their defense. You can make the case, arguably, and I'm going to get into some of that about Bill Belichick's decision to not play cornerback Malcolm Butler for reasons that are unbeknownst to a lot of the world right now, that a lot of people are curious about, because of the fact that he's their number 1 or 2 corner, and then he doesn't play one defensive snap in the Super Bowl. So I'm definitely going to get into some of that, because that's definitely a curious decision that a lot of people are looking to get some answers to. But I mean, this is all you can really do is say congrats to the Philadelphia Eagles for rising up and essentially winning their first Super Bowl, in franchise history. And I think the last championship this franchise has had was even before the Super Bowl era. So you really just got to give credit to the team's resolve and their ability, because this Philadelphia Eagles team, that's the reason why I say they won it more so than the Patriots lost it, because this Eagles team has been seen as underdogs all season. I mean, all season. Nobody was given, well, not all season, but pretty much ever since Carson Wentz went down, everybody was counting the Eagles out. And a lot of people, look, I counted them out. I doubted them on this podcast. I doubted the Eagles. I didn't think that they had a chance, but prior to or after Carson Wentz went down. But I'm pretty sure a lot of the Eagles fans didn't have them going to the Super Bowl either. I don't care what anybody says. It's easy to say it now. Oh yeah, I had them always going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, please. But that's why the Eagles betting odds, if you betted on the Eagles beforehand, you made about $4,000 or so plus dollars on your bet, because nobody was putting bets on the Eagles to make it to the Super Bowl. The Patriots, you bet on the Patriots, I think to make the Super Bowl, I think you won about $200 or $300 or so dollars. Whereas the Eagles, it was like in the thousands, because nobody was betting on the Eagles, because nobody had that faith in the Eagles to make it to the Super Bowl before the season. So anybody that's telling you, oh yeah, I had the Eagles going here, a few people, I had one friend who told me that the Eagles would make it to the Super Bowl, and I actually, because he actually did tell me this, and his belief in Carson Wentz and the whole nine. But a lot of people are just now coming out saying, oh yeah, I had the Eagles pegged to go to the Super Bowl, all this, yada, 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 yada. You know damn well you were picking Aaron Rodgers or whoever else to come out the NFC, the Seahawks, the whoever. And when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, when the Seahawks weren't versions of themselves that everybody thought they would be, you started flipping your picks around. It's okay. It happens. But for everybody, for all these people to come out and start acting like they had the Eagles pegged the whole time, especially Eagles fans, miss me with that crap. I know it's not really what the case was, but regardless of it all, credit to the Eagles for a lot of people did not have them making it here. Credit to them for holding up to the word that they spoke. I think even Lane Johnson made a bold proclamation in saying how they wanted to dethrone pretty boy Tom Brady, and they did just that. They dethroned Tom Brady on the stage that he's made his home for most of his career. Pretty much for literally most of his career, he's made that Super Bowl stage his throne, and he's excelled in most of the circumstances he's played in those Super Bowl opportunities, and this is one of those circumstances that he didn't prevail. And a lot of people would say he always failed against Eli Manning and the Giants, but now there's another NFC team added to that list, and it's the Philadelphia Eagles. And a heck of a way to usher in your first championship by doing it against a team that's arguably had the most dominant, well, not arguably, they have had the most dominant reign of the past decade. So credit to the Eagles and credit to the Patriots also for playing a great game. Credit to both teams for making it a really exciting Super Bowl. But all right, y'all, I'm going to hit into my first break of the night. When I come back, I'm going to be talking about Bill Belichick, and did he cost the Patriots a Super Bowl? Stay tuned to find out what I think. It's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show 24 hours a day. All right, y'all, I'll be right back after about 50 to 60 second break. Stay tuned for what I got to say.